Okay, hello everyone and welcome to Concordia University's ForSpace. Thank you for joining us today for the engAGE Student Research Competition. To help situate you, we are streaming to YouTube live from ForSpace, which is located on unceded Indigenous lands in Tiohtià:ke, Montréal. At ForSpace, we work with our university community to mobilize knowledge by co-creating daily activities to examine research questions and projects in development here at the university. We are running this event as a live stream meeting, so when it comes time, we welcome your comments and questions using the raised hand app or via the chat if you're joining by Zoom. And for those of you in the space, if you'd like to participate, just let us know by raising your hand and we'll get a microphone to you. With that, it is now my pleasure to introduce one of our organizers of this week's extravaganza, Constance Lafontaine. Take it away.
Right now. Okay, let me start over. Hi everyone, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the engAGE Student Thesis Competition, where we're going to hear about some of the research that is happening at engAGE from doctoral students. So we're going to showcase some of their work, but this is also a competition, and they have been challenged to talk about their thesis or their research project within 3 minutes. So we have 3 students with us today. We will hear from Emma Chen, from Daniela Presta, and from Sam Gilman, who are all in the front here. But before we hear from them, we also have convened some esteemed judges who will be listening to the presentations along with all of you, and who will then be deliberating and pondering what they've heard in order to tell us the outcome of the competition. So I would like to thank the judges for their time in joining us today, and I will introduce them. So first we have Dr. Tatiana Koreshkova. So born in the USSR, she dreamt of building robots to aid people. Entering university at 16 for systems engineering, she witnessed Russia's economic collapse. A US scholarship aimed at converting Russian engineers to economists led her to the Claremont Graduate University, earning an MA in economics. This brought her to see parallels between economists' study of decision-making and building intelligent robots virtually. Obtaining her PhD in economics from the University of Western Ontario in 2002, Dr. Koreshkova is now a full professor at Concordia University. She's part of engAGE's governing board, leads health economics and aging at the Centre interuniversitaire de recherche en économie quantitative, conducts research at Cyrano, and is a fellow at the Retirement and Savings Institute, HEC Montréal. Her work spans health, aging, long-term care, insurance, human capital, college quality, and economic inequality, with recent focus on long-term care policies in nursing home markets. Published in journals like Econometrica, Review of Economic Studies, and American Economic Journal Macroeconomics. We're so pleased that you're joining us. We also have the wonderful Marlene Chan, who I would be remiss to say, she's also one of our co-organizers, members of the steering committee for BOLD, who's made this whole event happen. So Marlene Chan is an independent scholar and the new community representative for engAGE, with extensive work experience in the arts, heritage, and culture at the local, regional, and federal levels. As an older woman and lifelong learner, she's interested in collaborative interdisciplinary research design and implementation involving the principles and values of design justice and Indigenous-led research methods, such as relational accountability. So welcome, Marlene. And last but not least, we have Dr. Natalie Phillips, who is a professor in the Department of Psychology, a member of engAGE, and she also holds the Concordia University Research Chair in Sensory Cognitive Health in Aging and Dementia. She's a licensed clinical neuropsychologist and teaches in the area of human clinical neuropsychology. Dr. Phillips studies the neuropsychology of healthy aging and Alzheimer's disease. She examines the relationship between our senses, our cognitive abilities, and language processing in older adults, including those who are bilingual. She's one of the principal developers of the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, as well as she's the Associate Scientific Director of the Canadian Consortium on Neurodegeneration in Aging. So thank you so much for joining us, Natalie. Okay, so now on to the stars of the show for today. So we will start with Emma Chen, but I will introduce you first, Emma. So Emma is a doctoral student in the Department of Health, Kinesiology, and Applied Physiology at Concordia University. Having previously studied ballet and modern dance in New York City, she's interested in how dance can be used as a fun and engaging method to improve health and fitness. Since 2020, her research has primarily focused on how online dance classes can be used as accessible fall prevention programming for older women. Alongside her research, Emma is a passionate dance teacher, having worked with several nonprofit recreation centers in Kingston and in Montreal. She believes in research extending beyond the lab and being implemented in communities, and is looking forward to opportunities as a member of engAGE. And I would like to invite now Emma to present on her work, Ballet for Balance, Accessible Online Fall Prevention for Older Adults. We will give her 3 minutes to speak, and then we will open the floor for a few questions. Thank you, Emma.
All right. So in our cold and icy winters, do you worry about falls? I know I do, and so does my friend Anita. Anita is 73. In the past couple of years, she's experienced a few falls, which is common. Falls affect 1 in 3 adults above the age of 65 every year. And the injuries that result, such as broken bones, hip fractures, and concussions, can be hard to bounce back from, and prompt many from transitioning from living at home to an assisted living center, representing a major loss of independence. So Anita knew one of the reasons she's losing her balance is she's losing a bit of strength with age. While a loss of strength can be prevented with exercise, only 4% of older women meet the Canadian Physical Activity Guidelines. Exercise may be inaccessible due to living in a remote location, lack of transport, or, in Anita's case, primary caregiver roles at home. As a caregiver, taking the 1 to 2 hours to drive to the gym and do class is just too much time away from family. But luckily for Anita, my research may offer a solution. I'm interested in creating accessible online fall prevention programs using dance. Now you may be wondering, why dance? But dancers are known to have great body awareness, balance, and strength. Just think of the ballerina turning on the tip of their toe. I'm trying to harness the benefits of ballet to increase physical activity levels and create a fun fall prevention program. So in March of 2020, I started teaching my online dance classes twice a week over Zoom. And to make sure our program was working, I created a simple online test of balance. I had our participants stand as still as possible in front of their webcams for 30 seconds, and I was able to track how much they moved. And I know, standing still sounds very simple. But whenever we stand still, we always have a little bit of movement, which we call sway. And if our balance improves, we expect this sway to become smaller, which is exactly what we saw. So after 12 weeks, sway went from 5 centimeters all the way down to 1, representing a major reduction in fall risk. And because our program was online, we were able to reach lots of women like Anita who couldn't access traditional in-person fall prevention programs. We had Lucy, who's immunocompromised and a bit COVID anxious, Manon, who lived in rural Quebec, and Agnes, who just wanted to try something new. I've been so grateful for the past 3 years to dance with over 70 women from Hamilton, Ontario to Saint-Sauveur, Quebec. And the success and the feedback has allowed us to keep going for over 7 semesters. Using online dance classes has proven to be a great way to improve balance. And if you're wondering, Anita is still dancing and she hasn't fallen since. Thank you.
Great, so we'll open it up for questions. Oh, I have one right here in the back.
So when I've taken the courses, the one thing that kind of I found difficult was I was always staring at the screen. So, if you have to like move around or, move through the space, I was kind of always looking in one direction. And how do you work around that where you're not sort of fixated on the screen and you stop moving because you're fixated on the screen?
Yeah, I try and make the classes more of like a follow me class rather than I dance and then you dance. And what I ask for the people who do participate is that they have an area of space that's maybe they can take 2 steps forward, 3 steps to the side. And that's usually large enough that they're able to dance with me because also I'm working in my apartment, which doesn't have a lot of space. So I've designed the courses to be able to work with homes rather than what you'd normally do in a big dance studio.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Can you give us an example of what you do online?
Of course. Yeah, so for example, I use basically 3 moves, and then we build them up over the semesters and we can add things on. So one of the basic moves in ballet is if you have your feet, your heels together, your knees and toes apart, if you bend and stretch, we call that a plie. So you can do that with different arms. You can do that moving into other positions. We've built that up over time to do it on one leg, and then you can do steps forward, steps back. Eventually, we've worked on things like balance, say, so you're taking a few steps to the side, and then you can do that into a turn. So yeah, we build it up over, usually it's 8 to 12-week semesters, which is really nice to be able to see the progress.
Any other questions?
Is your website available?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. I imagine that people came in with a different range of experiences and background experiences. How did you navigate that? You might have had people who already had previous dance experience versus people who are totally new. How did you go about navigating that?
Yeah, I would say a lot of the classes kind of tailored to more like entry level or beginner level, but at the same time, because this is also not just dance, it's also a fall prevention program, it looks a little bit different than what you'd see in a traditional dance class. So I would say that it's more like ballet-based or modern dance-based than strict modern dance. So we still work on choreography in the end, but we've built it up over several weeks, and I'll adapt to different steps. Like, we're not going to be doing full pirouettes in an apartment where we don't know what the floor is or other things like a turn on your toe. But we'll do mini balances, for example, and we'll try and hold that for a minute. Or maybe we'll do a turn where we're walking around instead. So you can always take bits from more complex motions and then break them down bit by bit and still use the expression that you would get from that movement. So we've had a lot of actually people who danced when they were younger who came back. And then a few people who danced, actually there was one person who danced professionally, which was lovely to see. And then lots and lots of entry people who just wanted to try for the first time. So yeah, we have a big range, but they all kind of come together and it's really beautiful. Yeah.
I'm interested because I take yoga and Tai Chi.
Yeah.
So maybe I like to branch off to your kind of dance. And can you please give me your website?
Yes.
Is it free?
I have a website right now. It is danceencorefitness.ca. And if you, should have my email on it if you're ever interested, and then you can stay in touch. Or you can ask Kim or someone else who works for engAGE. Thank you.
Yes, another question in the back here.
Thank you, Emma. Enjoyed your presentation. Can you tell us a little bit about the demographics of your group? Is it just women?
Yeah, so we used to be open to everyone, and then in a group of 20 women, we would have 1 man. And fall prevention is like, falls are more common among women, so we just have tailored mostly towards them. But yeah, so we have, the average age for our interventions has been about 74. But this is also because we had the age requirement for our studies was 65 and above.
Are there any couples?
Yeah, we have some people will bring their husband and then they'll be dancing in the background together, which is really nice. Yeah.
So meanwhile, you're collecting the data while you're doing this?
Yeah, so we've done both online and in-person testing, just depending on the semester and the resources that we have. But usually we would do at least before and after test of balance and strength. And usually, if we can, we have before, middle, and after.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think, oh, Carly.
I'm curious, can you give an example from your practice how you modify like your practice so people can come in with injuries, their health shifts from week to week? How are you incorporating or considering this into your active, like into the actual Zoom meetings if you're doing it online, as well as your research?
Yeah, a lot of it does come to a bit of trust in participants to understand their bodies and to know their bodies. But for example, I was teaching this morning. I'm just thinking of one of the exercises that we did was at one point I had asked them to rise, bend their knees, then put their heels down and straighten. For some people that might not be where they're at today, maybe their knees not feeling that comfortable. So for them it would be rise, lower your heels, and then bend, and then we can move on to the next step. Also for a lot of these steps, we're building them up over time. So instead of doing right away a full transition, we'd start, okay, first we're gonna put our heel down and get comfortable with that. Then we're going to do knees bend. We're comfortable with that, let's then transfer our weight. So it progresses up over not only the weeks, but also the classes.
Great. I think we're going to move on to our next student. Thank you very much, Emma.
Thank you so much, Emma. So on to Daniela Presta. Daniela Presta obtained a bachelor's degree in kinesiology and exercise physiology at Concordia and is starting her PhD in exercise science and applied physiology in September 2024. Alongside school, she worked at the kinesiologist at Constance Lethbridge. She intends to always combine her work and research to create meaningful projects that can help others. So Daniela is going to present Exercise Can Be as Light as a Feather. Welcome.
What if I told you exercise could be easier? That there's a way to avoid lugging that 80-pound dumbbell across the gym floor? That the solution is easy enough it could get your grandparents active without the need to drive them to a nearest fitness center? The answer is blood flow restriction. This is a cost-friendly, portable, easy method of training that could facilitate exercise for all. Essentially, adjustable straps are put around the muscles you're wishing to train. In response, these muscles are going to run out of fuel at a faster rate and begin to swell. But don't be alarmed by this, because the same exact thing happens when we train at high intensities. So whether you're beating your personal record in the weight room or you're maximizing your sprint time, your muscles will lose oxygen, and in response, that's what's going to make them swell. A population that could benefit greatly from this method of training are older adults. As a kinesiologist, I often work with seniors. And one individual named Fred had come to me once in a very frail state. He was very deconditioned, and he needed to gain muscle mass. Ideally, getting him in that weight room and lifting weights and putting impact on his bones would have been great, but that wasn't feasible for the state that he was in. So instead, we used blood flow restriction. Using no more than 5-pound weights, Fred grew stronger with every session that we had. Just imagine how many seniors can benefit from this method of training and avoid that risk of injury. It can make them feel safe and allow them to lift light, but feel those same benefits as that tough and demanding workout. The other beautiful thing about blood flow restriction is that it's portable, so you can train in the comfort of your own home. Something as easy as a walk around the block can become much more impactful using blood flow straps at your thighs. This is great for seniors who are a little bit intimidated in that gym setting. Studies have shown that you can reduce your intensity to 20% of your maximum effort using blood flow restriction, when the usual recommended amount is 60 to 80%. With my research, I will determine if online low-intensity resistance training classes is a successful way of training adults over 60 years old. Success will be measured by seeing their strength, functional capacity, and oxygen levels after 10 weeks of classes that will be done twice a week. I myself will be teaching the classes, and the blood flow restriction will be put at the upper thigh. With this project, I hope to target so many seniors like Fred and allow older individuals to maintain their independence, regain their muscle mass, improve their quality of life, and make exercise as easy as lifting up a feather. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Yes, raise your hand if you have a question.
Thank you. Can you describe the blood flow restriction device, and is it weighted?
No, it's just an elastic band that essentially works like a seatbelt. And there's smaller ones that you can put around your arms and thicker ones that you put around your legs.
And can you demo like what it might look like, the exercise?
The exercise?
Or describe? Yeah.
Oh, so it would be basically resistance training exercise, but without the need of all the weights. So whether it's a squat, a shoulder press, a Romanian deadlift, so body weight instead of resistance training.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
Hi, thank you. How many participants do you have, and how do you get the feedback from them?
Yes, so in my first intervention, we had 29, and feedback is given either through the actual classes, so there's always an open space for questions and comments if they need to give, or I'm always available through contact for my participants.
Any other questions?
Could you tell us about how important maintaining muscle mass or regaining muscle mass is for older
of course.
adults?
Yeah, so a lot of individuals, up to 65% of older adults actually suffer from sarcopenia. So for those who don't know, that's actually the disease that is caused by loss of muscle mass. And as much as it's so important to work aerobically and take care of our heart, our muscles is what keeps us strong and is usually the determinant of our independence. And without proper muscle mass, our activities of daily living become very challenged. So, of course, yeah, very important to keep strong. Yeah. Oh, I don't know if you need a mic.
Is this something that would be suitable for a younger person?
Yeah, blood flow restriction actually did originally start with younger populations, and it's growing in research into older adults, and I intend to kind of take it on even more.
Someone who's afraid to go to the gym, for example.
Yeah, this is a perfect method because you can really train in your own home. That's what my classes are, essentially, they're at home. But as I mentioned too, just going for a walk, like with these straps, is a lot more beneficial and impactful than without the straps.
Are there any risks or dangers associated with using this technique? And can people do it themselves? Do we need you?
Yes, so to actually put on the straps, you don't need me. It's super simple. It's really a seatbelt. As for dangers, I wouldn't necessarily call them dangers, but there's a small exclusion criteria that includes varicose veins. And aside that, for my research in particular, I didn't have any older individuals that were suffering from a different chronic disease, just to have a more general population. But someone with, let's say, multiple sclerosis or Parkinson's disease can still use this method of training. Yeah.
Thanks very much. Just to follow up on Kim's question a bit, I could imagine that, you know, the potential is there to fit the strap too tightly or to leave it on too long. How do you go about navigating that and really ensuring that people are properly instructed on the safe use?
What the beauty of research is that they come in for testing. So at pre-testing, I'm the one who adjusts the straps for them, and I mark it with a Sharpie, and I say, put it to this pressure point every time. If ever they feel like it's starting to get loose, then they have to readjust it to make it tighter, but I keep track of all the tightness that they change throughout. Yeah.
Any other questions?
You talked a lot about like mobility and health, the importance of that, and it's important at every age.
Of course,
the risk, of course, increases as we age. What are 3 types of exercises that we could all be doing at home? Could you demonstrate A few?
Sure.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because you're an expert, obviously, in this field, and you named a bunch of different exercises, and some of them I'm like, I don't know what that is.
That's fine.
And I definitely could go to the gym. So
Yeah,
what are
of
some things that we
course.
could all like learn
Yeah.
from you today that we could take home, and maybe
Yeah.
put into practice?
Yeah, well, definitely. So if you were to do a Romanian deadlift, so that's the one I mentioned that maybe everyone was like, what in the world is that? So that's essentially allowing your hips to hinge backwards, have a slight bend in your knee, and bring your weight forward like so, and we come back up. So we're contracting our glutes, contracting our hamstrings, and they do this with no weight. And the option of putting a little bit of weight with the straps is still ideal. As for the shoulder press, so having your arms starting in this position, neutral grip, rising up and coming back down with control, rising up, that's it, beautiful. And coming down with control. So these are all types of movements that we do. Of course, I'm doing the class with them, so I'm not just like, here, do these, and they're like, what in the world? And they also get a paper with pictures even before starting the class. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniela. And we have our third presenter for today is Sam Gilman. So Sam Gilman is a PhD student in the Sleep, Cognition, and Neuroimaging Laboratory at Concordia University and at the Centre de Recherche de l'Institut Universitaire de Gériatrie de Montréal. His main work examines the impact of sleep on memory as we get older with Alzheimer's disease. However, recently, he's been helping to advance the next generation of sleep studies using new wearable technology in collaboration with the National Research Council in Canada. And he's going to talk to us about this today in his talk entitled Sleep Like No One Is Watching. Outside of the lab, Sam enjoys photography, card games, and spicy food. Welcome, Sam.
Don't look at me, look at that. So, a picture is worth 1,000 words. My name is Sam Gilman, and I am advancing the next generation of wearable sleep technology from the clinic to your home. Typically, as we get older, our sleep gets worse. If something's wrong, we go to a clinic and we sleep with wires pasted head to shin and a camera pointed at us while someone monitors us all night. This lap of luxury looks at brain activity, which is the gold standard of sleep measurement, and this is where older adults and people with insomnia and cognitive decline often have the greatest difficulty sleeping. So, how can we accurately assess sleep at home in a way that works for everybody? My work aims to assess how feasible it is for older adults with insomnia and cognitive decline to use new wearable technology at home, specifically this headband. Now, cities do have sleep clinics, but many of them are private. So if something is, hold on, sorry. Many of them are private. So we can ship this headband to any older adult who does not have access to a sleep clinic or who cannot sleep in one. We assessed sleep at home in older adults with insomnia and cognitive decline for 2 weeks using 5 devices because we were unsure which device they could use the best and because no one has done this before. So I just examined the headband, and younger adults could effectively use the headband on 70% of nights. 70% is the benchmark to know what is and is not feasible. So older adults, our older adults with insomnia and cognitive decline who find technology unintuitive and use 5 devices at home by themselves could effectively use this headband for on 67% of nights, which is 3% below 70, a gap we strongly believe can be exceeded by removing the mental load of learning how to use all but one device. Sleep studies with this headband reduce how much you pay and how long you wait, so you can rest easy at home with an accurate sleep assessment. At-home sleep studies will become the norm around the world, particularly in places that don't have sleep studies or sleep clinics. They incentivize sleep care and sleep research, not only in my participants, but also in those who have Alzheimer's disease and take off sleep equipment during the night, confused as to why they are there. Just with this single headband, we can assess sleep in almost anyone, anywhere. Thank you.
Okay, yes, I see a bunch.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. One is about data security and how the data is being used. Is it downloaded? Is it maintained in the device? Is it downloaded to a computer? How is it safeguarded?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
We had to go through many ethics boards to get this approved. So all personal information from the adults, they're all, like, we're not using the real information. We're creating fake people, fake ages, heights, names, weights. Everything is secured on heavily protected servers. We have backups that are in a locked facility with everything is password protected. And even the companies, we're preventing them from having access to the actual data.
That's great. And can you talk a little bit about what kind of data you get and how that informs you about sleeping patterns, and then how you work to help correct them?
So the goal was to not correct sleep, like if there are any sleep issues, more so, can we assess it or not? So for this, for example, it gets brain activity, and we use brain activity to know what type of stage of sleep you're in. Like there's a type of sleep where your eyes are moving rapidly back and forth, and we can see that. We can see like if you're awake, if your eyes are closed, if you're concentrating, if you're in a deep sleep, all from this. And I'm the fortunate individual to assess all 12 weeks from everyone.
We have another question over here.
I was diagnosed sleep apnea, and they offered me a CPAP machine. First of all, they're very expensive.
Yeah.
Secondly, I could not see myself sleeping well with all those tubes around, so I never bought it. And well, I'm trying other ways, but nothing really works. Sometimes I will be sleeping well for a few days, and then I have insomnia. So the insomnia keeps on coming back. I'm just wondering, how do you call that?
It's just a headband that looks at your brain. It's a brain activity headband.
Is there a possibility of trying out?
Yeah, so this is made by a company in Toronto, so you can actually purchase one of these.
Are they expensive?
Yes. they're getting cheaper. They're cheaper than a CPAP by a lot. They're significantly.
CPAP is over to $1,000.
Oh, this is way cheaper than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
I think from exercising, I have been able to sleep better. I don't need your headband.
Good.
And my doctor said, you don't need 8 hours sleep, 5 or 6 is okay. But then the specialist said, no, you must have 8 and 9 hours of sleep. So which one is correct?
That's actually a very good question. So the average hours of sleep we need, it varies on your age. Usually the older you get, the less sleep you need. And because we're told that younger adults need like 7 to 9 hours, and then usually like older adults, like 50 years, 65 plus, it's going to be slightly lower, like 6 to 8 to 9 hours, but that's an average. And an average is taken from a lot of people, so there's a really huge range. So some people need 5, some people might need 6, some people might need 9, or if you're like me, you need 10. So you have to figure out what's best for you.
Great, thank you. As a neuropsychologist, I'm interested in your definition of cognitive impairment. So how are you assessing your participants and their cognition? Are there normative values? How are you taking into account any individual differences?
That's a good question. So we have, you're familiar with the MoCA?
I designed it, yeah.
Yeah, you just said, oh, but that's, oh yeah, okay. So you're familiar, you're very familiar with the MoCA. So we have questionnaires that assess like, general cognition, memory, attention, short-term memory, delayed responses. We have a small battery of neuropsych tests. We have the Stroop, the Revolt, Oral Trail. So we do a very brief neuropsychological evaluation to get an idea of like where along, in this normal spectrum of cognition are each of our participants.
Okay, that's a comprehensive battery. Do you have people self-identified as having cognitive concerns, and do you feed back any information to your participants?
So yeah, we have people, when you do a little, our screening to recruit people, we do ask if they have any cognitive complaints, but we don't tell them if they do or don't, just because that's the purpose of the study. Yeah, we don't want them to come thinking, oh, I'm going to get a free assessment for my cognition, and then leave with that information.
We have another question here.
Hi, thank you very much. You were talking about 5 devices to help people. What are those 5 devices?
Okay. So this is the first one. We have a Fitbit. We have a medical grade watch that tracks movement and light. We have an air mattress that goes under the mattress, and that tracks movement and also sound on the bed. And then one of our teams developed an app for like the participant's phone. So that's all the 5. So something on their phone, the Fitbit, the watch, this lovely thing, and then the under mattress mat.
So would this be something that would be recommended for someone with narcolepsy, let's say? Or is that because it's a condition that is kind of static? Would that help somebody with narcolepsy or help them track how their sleep patterns are either getting better or not improving?
Yeah, they definitely can. It can't be, it won't be used to treat anything, but it can definitely be used to inform a patient about their sleep habits, how active they are, their heart rate, and they can definitely track like daily symptoms. That was one study that we used to base a good chunk of the devices we decided was done on people with narcolepsy. So for sleep tracking, it's great.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
We have time for one last question. I see one up here at the front.
I'm just interested in how this headband is different from a Fitbit or a Garmin or whatever you would put on your wrist, which seems to be quite easy as well, and maybe more comfortable than wearing something like that on your head during sleep.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Especially if you're a stomach sleeper.
Right. Actually, if you're lying on your stomach while you sleep, it doesn't make too big of an impact, which is good. So I definitely agree with you. Like obviously a Fitbit or like a watch is going to be a lot more comfortable than this, or something you wear on your chest. But since this is really like the big difference between the Fitbit and this is that this looks at your brain activity, and the brain activity during your sleep is what's used. Like that's the gold standard for assessing your sleep. So luckily the Fitbit looks at how much you move, your heart rate, how much oxygen you have in your blood, which are all very helpful and informative, but it lets us know what the brain is doing indirectly. This directly lets us know what's happening. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Sam.
And a big hand to all of our presenters today. So next, I will invite Tatiana, Natalie, and Marlene to join me in the office over there, or to go in the office over there to deliberate. And you will have up to 15 minutes. Everyone else, you're welcome to stay around and mingle to wait for the results. There's coffee and tea over there.
The nighttime find me with my pillow, but I don't mind, no. But if you just let me say it again, I mean. I wish your trouble would leave me alone, but I've been crying. Oh, come on and stop the rain right now. Yeah. Stop the rain, stop the rain, stop the rain.
So the judges first wanted to say that all three contestants today were wonderful and that they learned a lot from their presentations, and it was a very hard decision to make. There's going to be an award given to each of you regardless of the ranking, reflecting the quality of the contributions today. Okay, so in third place, please congratulate Sam Gilman. Congrats, Sam. And then in second place, we have Daniela Presta. And in first place, Emma Chan. Please join me in the front so we can applaud you and congratulate you. And we'll take just a few more photos, and thank you all for, thank you all, always more photos. Thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you all for that. Emma, Daniela, and Sam, what a wonderful presentation. And thank you, Constance and team, for bringing that to ForSpace here today. That concludes Bold's programming for today, but please stick around, check out the exhibitions and the art, which just keeps getting added to every day. It's beautiful and wonderful, and we will see you again tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. Last day.